Good morning, everybody. Happy October. I know you can't see this from where you are watching the screen, as you are obviously doing, but outside my window, the trees are absolutely on fire. Man, October is my favorite month of the year, no question about it. I've always loved October. It's flannel shirt month. It's beautiful tree month. It's my birthday month. It's Reformation month. It's Pastor's Appreciation month. October's the best, right? Mostly the trees, though. I just absolutely love looking at the trees changing color. I'm telling you, I went for a run early this morning and looked around. I literally thought my trees were on fire. Some of the red maples, the sugar maples, they're just incredible this time of year. If you don't live in Western Pennsylvania or Ohio or some of these places where the trees are just magnificent, you really don't know what you're missing. In fact, when I lived in the South for a while, man, the leaves just kind of turned brownish a little bit. Some of them fell, some of them didn't. Some trees got a little bit yellow. Just nothing like living back up in the north, from whence I was born and raised. Anyway, this morning, I want to talk about morning routines with you today. In fact, my friend Reagan Rose just came out with a new book that I have to mention here at the top of the video. Reagan Rose, Redeeming Productivity, Getting More Done for the Glory of God. So happy for my homeboy Reagan Rose getting this book out through Moody Publishers, which is a fantastic publisher, one of the best. Kudos to you, Reagan Rose. If you're not aware of Redeeming Productivity, he's got some really good stuff on the productive Christian life from a Christian perspective. In fact, he's been on my channel, I've been on his channel. Reagan's got a pretty interesting story. You know, he went to the Master's Seminary out there, worked for John MacArthur for a little bit, then he worked for the Babylon Bee for a little bit and didn't find that ultimately satisfying in his heart, and then moved on to kind of start his own ministry focusing on productivity. So he's got a website, he's got a YouTube channel. Now this book, Redeeming Productivity, I'll post a link to this in the description of this video, but I read the first couple chapters already, and what's interesting about this book is he kind of takes turns between talking about theology and then practice, theology and then practice. This is a distinctively Christian book on productivity. He even mentions the fact that there are a ton of productivity materials out there online in the bookstores, the secular bookstores, but you know, not very many productivity books start with the belief that the chief end of man is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. And Reagan shares that conviction with me, which has led to sort of the overlap in some of the things that we do. I talk a lot about productivity from time to time, though my channel does all kinds of things: theology, pastoral ministry, Edwards studies, biblical scholarship. Reagan is more focused just on the Christian productivity angle. Definitely want you to check out this book. However, the reason I hit record on my video camera this morning is to talk about the morning routine. This is chapter 2 in his book, and him and I are totally in agreement on this, that the way to take control of your life in some sense is to take control of your mornings. Now, I wasn't always a morning person. There was a day where I too, like Reagan, thought I was kind of an evening person. Of course, in college, everybody stays up late, writing late papers at night, things like that. Even when my wife and I got married and we were young, we used to always stay up and watch Conan O'Brien until 1:30 in the morning. But something changed, and that change, maybe it was biological in my own body, maybe it was the fact that we had kids and life kind of just shifted time frames. And one particular moment I will remember quite clearly when my my oldest daughter had to get to school super early for high school. I had to change my routine and start getting up at 5:30 in the morning. And that became a practice that I continue on to this day. I still have one daughter, my youngest daughter, who has to get up very early to get on the bus. But I got in that early morning routine and never got out of it. I realized that I am far more productive now with a very early morning routine than I ever was as a late night person. The late night, late owl thing, you know, I thought it was working for me. It really wasn't. And so now here's my morning routine. I just want to share this with you, and I'd love to hear your morning routine in the comments of this video. So please do let me know what you do. 5:30 alarm goes off, hit snooze at least once, maybe twice. I'm truly out of bed by 5:45, 1 cup of coffee, 2 cups of coffee, and then I immediately begin my devotions. Now, right now, please do not think that you have to follow what I do. This is just what I do. It is not prescriptive. It is merely descriptive of my own life at the moment. Spend about 30 minutes, maybe 45, In the Greek, I'm usually reading either New Testament Greek or Old Testament Septuagint Greek. Right now, I've been just kind of doing a superficial, cursory work through the Septuagint of the Old Testament, just skipping like a stone upon the lake there, doing some main important passages of the Old Testament, translating them into English. This morning I did Deuteronomy 5, the law of God. We're going to get into Deuteronomy 6, and then I'll move on to whatever I want to do next. So I spend about 45 minutes or so translating in the morning, work through all the way through the New Testament prior to that. Don't feel like you have to imitate me, but do get in the Word of God. It's the best thing to do right in the morning, right early in the morning. Gets your heart right, gets your mind right. After that, I kind of see my little one off to the bus, make sure she gets on the bus on time. I may do a little bit of reading next after that. Let's say it's 6:30 in the morning now, bus comes at 6:36. I may do a little bit of reading, maybe a little bit of Edwards. This morning I read a little bit of Reagan Rose, but a little bit of reading, and then it's time for my workout. My workout comes next. Now this is seasonal for me because up here in Western Pennsylvania, the seasons really do mess with it. Most of the year I go for a run early morning, and I don't know if you know this, but we're set right on the back of a college campus. Our house actually goes right up to the college campus. So it's actually great because it feels like our yard and our property is ginormous because the college has running tracks and walking paths and out in the woods. And so I've been in the habit of doing a run in the morning, usually about 1.5 miles. I don't really track it. I used to run with my dog. Now I just kind of run alone after he passed away. Sad story. I'll tell you another time. If I cannot run in the mornings, then what I like to do next instead is to use kettlebells. A little bit on kettlebells. They're the best exercise equipment that money can buy because you only have to buy one, maybe two if you get the right weight. I got into kettlebells because I used to be a wrestler. Now, wrestlers, we have very high standards for physical fitness, super high standards for body control, body weight, maintaining diets, rigorous combination of aerobic and anaerobic stress on the body. So I've always been fairly fit and generally athletic. But now I'm 45, so I can't do the same kind of training routine that I used to do. And then I was listening to, actually it was Joe Rogan. He was interviewing this Russian guy, and he was talking about how the Russian wrestling team, which is one of the best in the world, they don't lift. They only do kettlebells. And I was like, what? Kettlebells? That's weird. I know what they are, but... So wrestlers don't always lift hard because they want to maintain their weight for their weight class. And the more muscle you have on your frame, the harder your heart has to work to pump blood all the way through that muscle. I'm getting into a little bit of detail here, but so I found out that the Russian wrestling team, which is one of the 3 best in the world, you've got USA, Iran, and Russia, best teams in the world. The Russians only use kettlebells. And so I started researching that, and I'm like, hey, this is the perfect exercise equipment because you only need one. You can do it in a super small space. I could do it here in my office, and I have, or at least bands or something like that. I do kettlebells in my kitchen. I can do kettlebells in front of the TV. I could do kettlebells in a closet or a bathroom. I mean, really, you don't need much space to do this. And I realized like kettlebells are the perfect exercise for the heart, total body fitness, legs all the way down to midsection to upper body, everything, kettlebells, one piece of exercise, perfect. So I'm totally into that. Sometimes I exercise twice a day, morning run and kettlebells later on in the afternoon, but I digress. And then after that, I like to try to cool my body down. I don't tend to sweat a lot, but I like to cool my body down after the run or after the workout. And so what I'll do is I get my old King James version out and I'll go sit on the porch and I'll just pray through one of the Psalms. And that's kind of my prayer for the morning. So putting it all together, coffee, Bible, workout, cool down, prayer, and then I'm off to work as quick as I can. I like to get in the office before anyone else gets here. I usually like to get in at least an hour before the first other staff person comes. That way I can get a ton of my to-do list checked off before the office even gets cranked up and the gears get moving here at the church. So that's my morning routine. I would love to hear about yours. By the way, don't forget, I'm going to post a link to this book here in the description, Redeeming Productivity. Hey, newsflash, I've got a new book coming out too. Here it is. We'll talk more about this on some other occasion. I'm gently prompting the launch of this book here. It comes out November 1st, so we'll be talking more about that no question about it. Thanks for checking in. Love you lots. Talk to you later.